So welcome everybody to, let's see, it's February 1, the day before Groundhog's Day. In case you're celebrating, I mean, you know. And this is our
birthday tomorrow.
What's that?
It's my Uncle Barney's birthday tomorrow.
Ah!
Never forget his birthday.
I have lived in New England now for, I don't know, 30-something years. And it always amazes me. I can always predict that February 2nd, the sun will shine. And according to, you know, the farmer's tale or whatever it is, if the groundhog sees its shadow, that actually means an extended period of time, right?
Yeah, another 6 weeks.
That's right. Whereas if there was no shadow, then the groundhog, supposedly we have less winter. So I can always tell that that February 2nd will be a sunshiny day. It's just always been true. And then March 17th, which is St. Patrick's Day, which is, there's usually there's a parade in the Boston area. And of course, a parade, you'd like good weather. It will always be rainy, snowy, drizzly on March 17th. I can promise you that in the 30 years I've lived here.
Nancy, where are you from before that?
Ohio, Cleveland, Ohio.
Oh.
I came to undergraduate school and basically have stayed. So.
Can you hear me now?
I can.
Yes.
So I'm going to start us off with a quote from Walt Disney here, because Walt Disney says, if you can dream it, you can do it. And boy, dreams do come true. If you can dream it, you can do it. So let us go around and how about we celebrate? What are you celebrating? And we'll start, Jan, you were first.
We have moved in Maryland, and it's looking okay here. We're in a basement, and it's just a beautiful basement, and Polly's adjusting all right. So that's my big news. Nothing. Other than, here's the interesting thing. In the month of January, it's the very best year or best month I've had in business since I've been doing this business. And we were moving and adjusting and everything else. I mean, I was shocked. So those are two really good things.
You know, I'm shocked to hear that too, but what great news.
Yeah.
Yay. Yeah. And tell us, Danielle, we haven't heard from you for a long time, and there you are staying put.
Well, I was on last week too, I think, wasn't I? But
you were on, but you were moving and grooving.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah,
moving and grooving for a while.
Yeah, that's true. So I'm not 100. I'm like 90% or maybe even 95% done with the house. But I've given myself a break because for some reason there's a couple reasons why I actually can't finish a couple things. And then all the other things I'm just giving myself a break with because I need it. And so it's done enough that I'm like, all right, let me at least create a nook and start settling. And so thank God. And so I've started, turning my attention more back towards my businesses. And but now I'm remembering the different challenges that that come up for me. So it's not like it's going to be smooth sailing right at the beginning, I imagine. But the part that I have started with that kind of just came about more easily and naturally for me was doing the body work that I was telling you about, and I offered that. So I've been doing that and successfully at this one location, and then I got a private client from that. And that was fun. And and so I just love it. It's just so natural and easy for me. But I don't ever really intend to do that full time. Like that's not but I just love doing it sometimes. So so I'm glad to have that. And then and I still have a part-time job that I'm just that I'm kind of reducing the hours of so I can transition. And so, yeah, so, you know, it's a mixed bag, but it feels like, you know, I'm starting to kind of create a game plan because my tendency is to want to just try different things. And I'm like, all right, let me just pull back a little bit and see what strategy I think will really be the most successful. Because really it would be useful for me to be successful from the get-go. Like I don't want to go through, you know, a long, you know, trial and error period if I don't have to at this point. If I do, that's okay. You know, that's the way it is. But if I can shortcut some of that, that would be definitely much preferred. So maybe I can share
the wisdom of this group to help you.
Exactly.
Good, good.
Yeah.
Good. And Sharon.
Oh, wow. I'm still recovering from an amazing event. Jan. So wait, I have a quick question for Jan. Are you in your permanent new house? Or are you in like?
No. This is, we'll be here for, well, probably through September. And then Ted will be retiring October 8th or something along that line. And we'll be moving to Arizona.
Oh, okay.
We have a home there that we're renting out. It was my parents' home. So anyway, so we'll be in Phoenix. Well, actually, yeah, in Chandler. So open invitation to anybody to come visit when you're like sick of New England winters.
Come
on
out, people. I think it's calling me. Yeah.
I won't.
I may have to just hop.
Yeah, it's and honestly, I mean, especially well, anybody. I mean, if build a business there.
I am planning on it.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, we had our event, A Vision for Success, had Jordan Adler out. Oh my gosh, it was so amazing to see him live, like in front of us, like there. He's a master storyteller. He really connected with those in the audience, and we had exactly 100 people. The last January, we had exactly 99. We called it 100 with our speaker that was on the screen, like. So what we learned was we won't have another event in January. It's just a tough month, but that's okay. It was great. It was a really good experience. Since then, one of my spin-off referral clients closed finally for the biggest business bundle account ever that I've had. So it's a business bundle with 9 sub-accounts. I'll be training with them on their leaders of each district, of each count, this Friday. So big doings. I'm getting pinged from all of the promotion for this event, from LinkedIn, from people re-engaging my calendar. It's something else because you're trying to like take a breath, but you're also trying to know that you created this wave that you need to ride. So it's quite a little balancing act, and I'm trying to take myself and in stride so I don't burn out. And I also had a couple things pop up in a family sidelines. That is the reason why I got into this business, is so that I can help out with family as needed. So I'm trying to balance my emotions on that front and not let it affect my business. So I'm in a typical entrepreneurial state, because I'm sure most entrepreneurs have to deal with this stuff. Gotta put on the happy face. Sometimes you really don't want to. So yeah. It turns out that my father may have prostate cancer coming back, so it just sucks. So that I just found out yesterday. And there's a couple other things that are already brewing. So, but that is why I got into this business, so I could be sitting in a doctor's office handling and scheduling appointments and stuff like that. So I'm really, really, really glad that I'm in sendo cards. So, yeah. And I actually said that during my 5 minutes on stage.
I am here to support you.
Thank you. Yeah.
And me too. Anything I can do to help. We've been through the ringer with our parents, and anything we can do to help. Prayers.
Thanks.
Okay.
Yeah. Aging is challenging for the individual, and it's challenging for the people who love them. Yeah, I've certainly been through it for my parents. My mom, who had a stroke, got paralyzed in a wheelchair, first lived with me, then nursing home, then, she did pass away. Right now I'm dealing with an aging dog, and although that doesn't sound whatever, I mean, it's challenging on a daily basis to help the dog go up and down stairs, do her business, eat her food, but that is what life is. And yeah.
Right. So I just got to get through it.
Yep, exactly.
That's why us women have a support network, because we're smart like
that. That's right. So I thought I would do the stabilizing style today. Is that?
Oh yeah, I met one yesterday.
Oops.
Yeah, I'm one of those. So.
Yeah, I thought that it might actually help, Jan, if you saw yourself, and we could give you some suggestions.
Yeah, Nancy's been texting me through this whole process. Breathe. Everything will be okay. Which I've appreciated very much.
Hey, Nancy? Oh.
Yes?
Oh, I didn't mean to cut you off there. Sorry about that. My dad is he stabilizing? Is that
yes.
Right? Oh, yeah. Yeah, and it's funny because my mom was talking about him, like, in reference to this system once, and said that actually it helped her understand him more. And I'm like, after all these years, you didn't understand him? It's funny. but putting it in context of these terms, it really actually does help to be like, oh, it's not just like a quirk, it's actually him. Like that's, or it's not like, or you know what I'm trying to say?
Yes, I think it. As you know, Danielle. Whoops, there's some echoing. Let me try. Okay, is there still echoing? No. Okay. So what I did, Danielle, is I muted you. So if you need to talk, we'll unmute you. But it's funny, as for whatever reason, there is reverberation. At any rate, I will share with you that your mom really, had she not known that information during the renovation of your family home, it would have gone so much worse. I mean, as it was very disruptive for your dad, because the stabilizing person wants stability. And of course, when you go through a home renovation, you don't get stability. You get, upheaval, and you get disorder and disorganization, and, things happen spontaneously, and it's unpredictable. And for the person who likes stability, it is so upsetting. And I think your mom, I think, did the best she could, knowing that this was really taxing on your dad, hugely taxing. I mean, he may have wanted a larger home, the kitchen space, etc., but it was an amazing experience for him. And he's now still kind of readjusting, just like Jan is from this upheaval. So I know Jan is, Jan is back. So just to remind.
Yeah, if I have to duck out, it's because Polly needs to go out. So
okay.
Sorry.
So let's remind each other, what are some of the values of the stabilizing person?
Values.
What do they value? So if we want to talk their language, what kinds of concepts and values should we be talking about?
I would think order.
That's right.
Process.
Yes. A system.
Yeah.
Predictability, control, management. Okay. Traditions. all of that is what they value. Remember that when they're choosing things, they want things that are classic, that will never go out of style, you know, tasteful. And secondly, conservative. Again, a nod to the past. You know, they don't want things that are newfangled and improved. It's funny, many advertisers, you know, will tell you how things have been improved and upgraded, but the stabilizing person really just, they don't want that. You know, they want things to stay the same. It's the energizing person that's excited by improvements and novelty, etc. Okay, they're a slow decision maker. A reminder to you that it takes them about 5 contacts in order to go forward. And the reason it's taking them a while to say yes to you, one, they have to adjust to whatever it is you're offering. They have to kind of play with it and live with it. And, you know, so there is a time sequence that's necessary for them to shift and move and adjust and kind of set their mind to it. I find it amazing when I deal with stabilizing people. Obviously, this is not my first code. That to offer them an appointment today or tomorrow is never accepted. They always need an appointment days out, at least a week or two. And it's not that their schedule was all that full. It's that they have to wrap their mind around and accept the fact that there is now a new thing taking place, i.e. this appointment. So they're slow decision makers. What's going on during that period of time? 2 things are taking place. One is that they are really checking on your reputation and the reputation of the company you represent. Many of them will actually go and look you up on the Better Business Bureau or see if there's any complaints been registered or things of that sort, because they don't want trouble. You know, they want something tried and true and precise and exact, and they can count on it, and it's orderly and all that stuff. So that's one thing that's going on. The other thing that's going on is that they are really on an unconscious level, they're watching to see if you're professional. And for them, professional means, do you keep your appointments? Do you make and keep appointments and do it as stated? So if you say that you're going to call them at 10, do you call them at 10 or 10:01 or 10:05? I mean, it's that petty. There's something going on in which they're measuring and watching and noting that. If you have a 1 o'clock appointment, do you arrive at 1 o'clock or do you arrive at 12:45? Because for them, if you come early, and 5 minutes early isn't even as good as 15 minutes early. I mean, it's just so funny about that. They really want the meeting to start at 1, meaning you're there with your coffee or your water or your notebook or whatever to start at 1, i.e. you come early. Now, Danielle, my style and yours are similar this way because I have difficulty with this. And so I force myself, knowing when I'm dealing with a stabilizing person, it's a high priority for me to I fool myself. I make the appointment for 15 to 30 minutes earlier in order to make sure that I arrive on time.
And just a question about that.
Yeah.
Because, for example, I was thinking about that with this appointment I went to recently, and I didn't know the person really ahead of time. And so I did just consider it'd be good to show up early just in case. Because are there other, because I figured if that with the other style, like if the person was another style, it wouldn't necessarily be a fault to show up early. I could just, like you said, do something else on my own until they're ready.
That's exactly the truth. So I applaud you because that's exactly how you need to think of appointment. And I know that, again, our style being somewhat alike, my tendency is to stuff and cram and, have a lot in my schedule, which means that I'm running to make the time.
Yeah.
And
Well, I was planning on being there like 30 minutes early, and it ended up being 5. So, you know, or, you know, so, so yeah, so I do have to extra plan in that direction.
right. All right, I'm going to mute you again only because, and please unmute yourself as you need to, because I can hear each time the reverberation is there for me. So, all right, they're a slow decision maker. They take about 5 contacts. And just to remind yourself, a contact is a phone call, a face-to-face meeting. Emails count only like a half. Text messages, again, kind of a half. So if you're thinking about how much contact do they need to make up their mind, a personal card or note, like send out cards, I think it counts as a full contact, and that's because it's personalized and we know that they open the envelope. Whereas, or if it's a postcard that they see the contents, you can't always tell that they've opened an email or that they've actually read it. They may open to delete, you know? So that's where you have to think about how long does it take. Always, there should be a system in place when you know you're dealing with a stabilizing individual. Now, despite the fact that they take a while to make up their minds, it's absolutely a customer, a prospect you want to go after because they are so loyal. Once they make up their minds, I mean, they just absolutely, remember, they're stabilizing. They don't want to change. And so they will stick with you, even when things are not so good. Now, you may want to tell them, I've had technical challenges and I can't get to it. And I said I was going to do it, but this happened. And they'll be understanding. You know, they won't like it because, remember, they don't like change. However, they're very loyal and they will stay with you. And this is a good reason to cultivate them and want to get them as a customer. The other thing is that they actually are good sources of referrals because while they may not want their name used as part of the referral process, they actually will tell you, yes, I have people that I know could benefit and will share that information. So it's very, very interesting about them. So again, this is a good reason to have them as a customer. As I said, they're a source of referrals. So I'm going to talk about what they need, like, and want, because clearly what they want and like, we want to give more of that to them. And this is the key for how you can communicate more effectively and be on their good side. It's about structure. So again, if you're talking to them or writing something, corresponding, if you have a sales presentation of whatever sort, you want to structure it. And that includes giving them an agenda. It's so important to say, here's our plan. This is how we're going to, even if it's a one-to-one meeting, you know, we're going to start by getting to know each other. Then I'm going to, you know, go into the benefits of XYZ, and then, you know, we'll conclude with our next step. Even if it's just that simple a framework, they need that structure. So that's, they love that kind of thing, step-by-step process. They love respect. And respect is about honoring their customs, again, honoring their rules, honoring rules in general, because this person's all about rules. This person is also about any kind of degrees or certifications or licenses that they've obtained or that you've obtained. As many as you know, I've earned my PhD, and I do introduce myself to people I don't know as Dr. Nancy Zare. Well, the stabilizing person will never call me Nancy. In fact, I know that it's a stabilizing person because the next words out of their mouth will be Dr. Zare. Exactly. And then I have to say to them, oh, please call me Nancy. And even if I give them permission, they often don't take it. And so then I will say, well, would you call me Dr. Nancy? So at least we can get it a little bit less formal. So this is, again, something for you to take note of. Now, I know you guys don't have a PhD, so it's not as obvious maybe to you about that respect factor, but they definitely are very respectful and honoring of any kind of certification, license, etc. that you have earned. And by the way, that means you need to do that of them. You know, that's really important. And you'll see it on their business cards. They almost invariably put all their credentials next to their name, whatever degrees they've earned, whatever licenses. You know, look at their website. And again, you'll see it's all there. And these are some of the clues to you that you're dealing with that, you know, stabilizing person. You go to their LinkedIn profile, and again, you'll see as you scroll down, they will list their achievements that way, you know, because it's so important. They honor this, they respect it, you know, in you, and they want it to be respected in turn. This is a person who has a strong work ethic. I mean, this is the person who says, you know, that it basically, you know, there's no play until the work is done. And of course, the work is never done. They're always focused on doing work, doing a good job. There's a strong sense of perfectionism in, you know, in what they do. But they really are very task-oriented. They get kind of nudgy and anxious if there isn't, you know, some structure and some work and some activity, because they function best that way. Very strong work ethic. So again, they like that. Integrity. I mean, this person is all about, again, honoring the rules, doing what you say you're going to do, being in integrity. I mean, absolutely, this is a fundamental value, a fundamental way that they operate, you know, is integrity. So if they in any way feel that you have exaggerated, said something that's you know, wrong, inappropriate, etc., you've turned them off, you've lost them, because it's all about being in integrity. Now, all of us on this call are very strong networking types, and integrity is also important to us. So that's usually not something we have to worry about. However, Danielle, just for because energizing is your first style, the energizing style often bends rules and can be out of integrity very easily because they get excited and they'll overspeak and they'll overpromise. So this is something just for you to be aware of. This is where the stabilizing person, it's a big disconnect for them. Commitment. They are absolutely able to make commitments. They like commitments. Commitments can be as simple as making an appointment. So take note of this, especially in your sales presentations, because every time you have a conversation with someone, in your mind, you should be thinking about what is the next step and getting a commitment towards that next step. So the next step may be an exchange of emails. The next step may be a phone call. I mean, it doesn't always have to be the next step is sign the paperwork, you know, but have a next step. This is a person who absolutely, you know, can make and keep commitments, and that's very important to them. Again, the energizing person is the one that has the most challenges around commitments. They want to keep things loose and free because freedom is their big value. So be aware of that, Daniel, again, as you work with this style. They keep their word. And the reason I showed you this weird picture is because they literally will turn themselves into a pretzel, bend upside down to honor and keep their word, because that's how important it is. It's like integrity to them, you know, and part of keeping their word is being punctual and being on time, you know, so that's very important. Proven plan. They love plans, but especially ones that have been proven, that have been tried before, that have data. They're not scientific. They're not looking for scientific proof. So for Danielle, when you are selling your health products, it's not that they need scientific proof, but they need testimonies, proven examples that it works. Same with you, Sharon, you're nodding. You know, they need to see proven stories about the fact that Send Cards results in. So they love plans in general, and they want a proven plan specifically. This is a detail person. Love the details. They read the fine print when they're purchasing something, when there's any kind of contract. They don't want to sign things abruptly or quickly. And again, that's why it may take more contacts in order to move forward with this individual. They want all the details. They want to read them. For them, something in writing is more secure and more stable, more certain than your word. You know, so again, if you can follow it up with documentation, or you give them the documentation and read it to them and go over it, they will just, you know, sing. They'll be so thrilled with that approach. They are a rule follower. And even though you didn't realize that there were rules when you're on the telephone, you know, like we're having a conversation. Well, guess what? There are rules for conversation. There are rules for everything. And the stabilizing person knows that there are rules. They follow those rules. They love those rules. They are guided by those rules. It's a huge value to them. So you need to honor. In fact, if you're uncertain about the rules, ask them. They'll tell you. And they'll be glad to inform you, well, this is the rule, you know. It's like, okay, I didn't realize, but now that I know, I'm going to follow. So am I right, Chan? These are the rules. There are always rules, even rules in moving. Right? You're muted. You have to unmute. I can unmute you.
Okay, now we're having, yeah, I would say, you know, a lot of this resonates with me, but there are a few things that are, you know, I can really tell my second, you know, my second code, I guess you would say, is networking. And so, yeah, a lot of this kind of fights with that. You know, I hate being late. I hate being late. But for me, being on time is being there like 3 minutes or 30 seconds ahead of time. You know, so anyway.
That is the networking style, to get there a few minutes early, you know, or just on time, or 5 minutes after the hour. We consider that as networking, to be on time.
Yeah, if I'm late, that just throws me into an absolute tizzy. But if I'm 30 seconds early, I'm like, yeah.
So of course, punctuality is a big one for them. And it truly, I mean, the other day I spoke at a financial planning firm this Monday, and they invited me to speak at 11 o'clock, but their staff meeting went from 10 to 12. And I made it in my mind, I needed to get there by 10 in order to not to disrupt their staff meeting, so that they didn't have to, in the middle of it, oh, she just came, our speaker, and we're in the middle of our conversation. So I got there, and I was striving to get there even, you know, a few minutes before 10, so that I could let them know, you know, and sure enough, I came at just as 10 as they're getting seated and situated, and it's like, oh, you're so early. Well, you know, I didn't want to disrupt you, but I know I got brownie points for that. You have to, right? So punctuality. Loyalty. I mean, this person is loyal, true blue. That's why I gave them blue. What? Yeah, the dog panting. Yeah, very loyal, extremely loyal. Which is great, Sharon. Now that you've got this wonderful, you know, company, they're going to stay with you.
You know, just real quick, this last exchange, he goes, oh, as I was talking about this program, so-and-so in the Arizona office already has an account with you folks, but I'm like, oh, so do you want one less sub account? I don't know, and I'm just being, I don't know what he meant by that. And he goes, oh, no, Sharon, this is all yours. Like, oh, because he wants control, the consistency of the brand and all that. And I was like, I felt really good.
It's perfect. It's perfect.
Yeah, I'm excited to hear how this guy's on the training call using it. So it'll be interesting. I'm kind of pumped. Yeah.
Now, these are, of course, very budget conscious people. It's all about, staying on the budget. They have a budget. The budget is their rules. It's their girdle. I mean, they're very, very careful about their expenditures. And that's why if your pricing goes up, and Sharon, you should be aware of it, because you never know, like postage going up or whatever. You just got to give them as much warning as you can, because again, they have to kind of ease themselves into it, and let them know their, expenses are going up, etc. The cost of paper, printing, ink is going up, and who knows, send out cards may, up the ante at some point. So just keep that in mind. I think, Jan, you and I as consultants, we have less of an issue, in terms of price increasing. But, representing another company, you're kind of stuck with their costs.
Yeah, postage stamp did go up a penny for a regular card.
Right.
Wow.
And, speaking of, I guess, budgets, there is, of course, Jan, you and I know that when you present different price points, where you have to start in order to be, help them ease into it, right?
Yep.
This is your saver. This is the person who wants to save money, and even if you tell them that if they spend $100 more, they're going to get $500 more value, that won't work for them, because they're on a budget. They want to save money. They don't want to spend that $100. I was at the Yankee Dental this past weekend and at the expo, and listening to, people present various things, and, and I thought, well, the stabilizing style, they don't care that, they want to save. They don't want to spend. So that's what they like. We want to give them more what they like. We want to avoid what they dislike. So be aware of these things. They dislike change. So, to the best of your ability, you want to keep things consistent in terms of what you're doing. Or if you're going to have a change, give them notice well in advance. For example, even if you changed your stationery look, like all of that is, can throw them for a loop. Your website, being refreshed, let them know we're in process of refreshing the website. They dislike disorganization, anything that's messy or disorganized, or again, that just seems out of order, which is the reason why, Jan, you are struggling right now with this move. Where are things? They're in boxes somewhere, but you were very good about labeling them, etc. But nonetheless, they're not where you wanted to go and find them. So it's a very disruptive time. Of course, they don't like things that are messy. And that means any kinds of mistakes. So ink blots on, you had something printed and there was an extra ink blot, or maybe you misspelled something. God, I saw that at the Yankee Expo, the word mobility, this guy, and it was huge signage. They had an actual truck or something there, and it was misspelled. I did not go up to the person. I'm sure 100,000 people had already let them know that it was misspelled, but I was like, holy moly, really bad. And I say that because a lot of dentists are very strong, stabilizing people, etc. So it was like, not the place to have a mistake like that. Hype, as I mentioned to you, they don't like exaggeration. They don't like anything that could be out of integrity, and they consider hype to be, a sure sign, I can't believe you, I can't trust you, I can't work with you. So just underplay things, under promise and over deliver. I mean, don't tell them it's going to be the best thing, ever. It's like, well, this helps, this will work, this, I can support you. Bending or breaking the rules, they dislike that. Huge, very upsetting to them. Again, their sense of following things and being in order. I'm wondering how they're dealing right now with the color changes in hair. The fact that people are streaking their hair with purple and green and blue, nail polish that glitters, and, these are things that I know they notice. And I know, I loved your nail polish, by the way. I love that color. It was just wonderful. But again, the stabilize, you have plain one.
Well, no, what I was going to tell you is I was going to put a pink streak in my hair here that didn't show too much. So
didn't show too much.
Yeah, but and then I found out I was going to have to strip all the color out of my hair to do it. And I went, yeah, no, I'm not doing that. But I mean, I thought about it.
So therefore your stabilizing was kind of like, oh, okay, it's beginning to be normal.
Yeah, that's the networking part of me that's coming out. I mean, it's like the creative-y part, because I am a creative person. It's just.
No, that's the energizing part that was coming out with the streak.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, that was the energizing one, getting a little attention, being a little different, et cetera. And also, of course, your branding of your colors, right?
Yeah. Okay, then.
Yeah, you have energizing in you. You do. Of course, unethical behavior, which goes along with bending or breaking the rules, only in this case, it's more extreme. They don't like it. They don't want to get paid under the table. I mean, they are really, they want to follow the rules and do exactly what's expected. Don't like anything that, smacks of being unethical. Lateness. They may not say it to you, but boy, they notice, and it is a black mark against you. They really are uptight, especially when they go to a public meeting of some sort. They don't like the fact that the concert's supposed to start at 8, but at 8:15 we're still, like in that preliminary stage. And that really, really is upsetting to them. And along with lateness, by the way, is if the program is supposed to end at 10 p.m., let's say it's a concert, but it goes until 11 or 10:30, again, they really can't tolerate that. It's very upsetting to them, because they want to be punctual. Everything has got to have its time. So both ends of that spectrum.
Yep.
They don't like people who are loud, who use that outdoor voice indoors or always are loud. And of course, we also know that loudness can mean something other than volume. It can also mean, saying things that are getting attention, etc. So again, they dislike that.
Oh gosh, this was me yesterday during that meeting.
What?
I couldn't handle anything. When I just lost it at our sphere meeting, I was like, it's too loud in here. I can't handle anymore. I had like a total meltdown. Poor Dennis.
I was thinking of changing seats with you because maybe by being against the wall, you would have heard less.
Probably.
But you know what? You would have seen the chaos in front of you.
It was completely working me. Anyways, yeah.
However, the good news is that we're going to go to a private home where I think it'll be a much better meeting.
Obviously, there's more stabilizers in the group than I thought.
Actually, no, but remember, BNI is very stabilizing.
Yeah. So anyway, go.
Again, another thing they really cannot tolerate is interruptions. I think you've all heard me tell the story of my client who, when I asked her the best benefit of our work together, she said it saved her marriage. Well, this was the key for saving her marriage. Her husband is stabilizing, and she is networking. And as you know, networking people interrupt. They don't interrupt in order to change the subject. They interrupt in the way of saying, yes, I appreciate what you're saying, me too, etc. However, to a stabilizing individual, any interruption, whether it's in support or against, is an interruption. And each time she would interrupt, he would be upset, angry, and basically chastise her. And of course, that felt very unloving. Here she is trying to be loving towards him and getting unloving back. She just stopped interrupting, i.e., she no longer felt the need to tell him, yes, I hear what you're saying, I understand, I support you. She stopped, and their marriage improved 120%. So, I mean, just that simple thing of not interrupting absolutely saved their marriage. So, this is the hardest thing for all of us on this call to do. Maybe not so Jan, I don't know, but I am definitely an interrupter. I really have to be careful and watch that I don't do it. You too?
My husband is a stabilizer, and he will always say, let me finish, let me finish, let me finish. And I'm like, oh, okay. I mean, he's even, whoop, he's way higher.
At least he's notifying you. Apparently what happened for Jean's husband is there was no notification. It was just, you know. Oh, I'm sorry,
well,
Goldie,
he says, let me finish.
I mean, he was absolutely livid with her. But of course, remember, their marriage had been about 25 or so years of this pattern. So it got worse and worse, I guess, in terms of his tolerance for her interruptions. And again, my guess is, because she was my client, she's not a big interrupter in a negative way. He just had low threshold for it. Complainers, they don't like complaints. I mean, they just suck it up and do their job, and that's who they are. Remember, they're very focused on the work ethic and getting the job done, and it's about the task, so they don't like complainers. Whiners, complainers. Anything that's being silly, frivolous, not task-oriented, they also have trouble with this as well. Now, the silly part comes from the energizing stuff. So again, the stabilizing, energizing have a lot of conflict built into their styles. And yet, these styles marry all the time. And they become business partners all the time. I know Danielle left our call, but her parents are examples of, the energizing, stabilizing have combined. They're both very high in networking, which is what binds them and keeps them together. And they're a really loving couple.
Oh, they just adore each other.
I know, and I'll tell you the secret, and Danielle, I hope you're listening to this replay. The secret is that basically Richard, because he loves Susan so much, he's reduced his rules. He just understands that she can't abide by the rules, so he just tidies up after her. That's how he does it. And I mean, it's so loving. It's just so beautiful to see. They also dislike spendthrifts. So again, if they perceive that you are a spendthrift, i.e. you're flaunting that Rolex watch and you're, flaunting your, extravagant car or something like that, this is what annoys them. And of course they notice you men would be aware of the quality of your suit material and whether or not that's expensive versus, off the rack. I mean, believe it or not, that is what's going through their minds because they're budget conscious, they're economical, so they just don't like spendthrifts. A lot of stuff here. How am I doing on time? I want to make sure I get time for you guys to have some coaching. So maybe I should stop here. Yes, no?
Sure.
Yep, stop. Okay, we shall stop here and give you guys a chance to, we can always go back if we need to. So, hope that was helpful as a refresher to learn more about the stabilizing style. And now it's time for some coaching.
All right. Well, while we were on, I saw an email come through from a lead, a referral that I got probably 2.5, 3 years ago. And I was like, geez, I wonder what style they are. I've never met them in person. I just found out she has a marketing coordinator. This lady keeps on reaching out to me every January, wants me to, send out cards. I try to get a hold of whoever's going to make that decision in the staff. It breaks down. It's almost like she's energizing and stabilizing. So now I think it's stabilizing with this new marketing person, because I get, thank you for reaching out. I look forward to talking to you. Is it possible we can talk the week of February 26th? We have 2 spa openings this month, and the next couple of weeks are pretty full. Can we talk? And she gives days. Please let me know what days and time work for you best. Thank you so much. Very kind of formal. So I'm thinking it's a spa, like a day spa, like Maria Martin's. It's out in Las Vegas. I'm thinking Vegas, day spa, energizers, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, no, I think I'm dealing with a stabilizer. Or maybe both. I don't know. Yeah.
You have her name. Do you want to share your screen and we'll look at her up on LinkedIn and Facebook?
I don't think this Roxanne's on either one.
Well, let's give it a try.
So it's, okay, so I'm going to share my screen.
Yeah, you want to share yours?
Okay. All right. Can you see my screen? Yeah.
I do. We do.
Yep. All right. So we'll go to LinkedIn. I think I already tried LinkedIn with her yesterday, but let me just, could have been something else. But I want to send them a card. Thing is I gotta figure out which store Roxanne's in. Oops. L-E. Well, I'm looking this up. Does somebody else want to talk?
No, look at.
Okay. Is that spelled right? Sorry. Really weird name. There's an E there. All right. President of, I wonder if that's her. San Francisco Bay Area?
No, Wichita, Kansas, and San Francisco.
Well, they have spas in California too, so this could be a virtual.
Oh, so she could. It could be her.
Inspire Marketing Group LLC. I'm not sure. 10 years she's been with this company.
Well, this is.
She was in radio as a sales manager.
Okay, so what's her position at the spa?
She's like their marketing guru, I was told by the owner.
All right, so this could be it. The fact that, again, she didn't even have all her picture in it certainly gets your attention, right?
I can't believe this banner's not filled in if she's a marketing guru. I'm sorry. Well, as a marketing person myself.
Yeah, it is kind of interesting. But then notice she only has 342 connections.
I don't think LinkedIn's her primary.
He may not be using LinkedIn that much.
Let me go to Facebook. And I apologize for. All right. E-R-L-E.
Well, same woman here, which is a possibility.
Up. Let me peek at that.
All right, she put, let's look at her.
Nothing. Wow.
Nothing. Yeah, so see if she's got photos. Try her photos. Let's see what she has for photos.
Nothing.
All sorts of nature.
That's networking.
Yeah, that's very networking. Or again, it's all pretty.
She's really not on social media though.
Yeah.
She's very private about it if she is.
Yeah, if she's not. Yeah.
A networker would be a little bit more.
Let's look at her timeline if she's posts things.
Glamour.
Uh-huh. Well, she is posting things. When was her last post?
That's really old.
Yeah, it's very old. Okay, so she isn't basically, and the same picture, cover picture she had both places. But if you look at the cover picture, I mean, it looks like she's got makeup on eyes as well. You know, she's got a small dangle earring, but not huge. But you know, the fact that it is a kind of pay attention to me picture because it's off center.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it could be Energizer too, but I don't know.
I think that's the creative stuff. You know, the creative. If this is the same person, right?
Right, we're not even sure.
All right. Last thing, go to the web page that you have, and let's see if perchance there are pictures of staff.
Of the I did that already. There's nothing with this woman on it. They just have the doctors, and you know, like Maria, like the doctor, and they don't have any like supportive staff names, anything. And there's like 5 locations so far.
Okay. Inspire Marketing Group. All right, if we can assume this is her, I want to read what she's written about her group.
Okay.
Chief Inspirational Officer. Now that's an interesting title. Certified Life Coach and Trainer. Inspire Marketing and Coaching helps organizations and individuals create mission-driven brands and lives, which is actually what's the word? Grammatically, that's the wrong. Lives that inspire, empower, and educate. I don't know about you, and lives. It must be lives. All right. Inspire Marketing and Coaching helps organizations and individuals create mission-driven brands and lives that inspire, empower, and educate.
Services include sales training, marketing, consulting, personal development, leadership training, team building, and coaching. So she's marketing consulting, but I don't think she's a person that actually does it.
Yeah, I don't know if we have the right person or not.
Right. She's the founder of the group. She probably hires people that do the task, which is probably.
It's funny. Here's one of her sentences. We believe that you can inspire the world if you just let them see you, but then she won't let us see her.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So
I don't know if this is.
I'm dealing with a mystery person. It's okay. I can deal with it. I can run with it.
So do one more thing while you're sharing your screen. Can you go back to the email exchanges that you've had with her?
I've just had one. I've had email exchanges with the owner.
Oh, with the owner? This is the only one you've had with her?
Right. She left me a voicemail June 9th on my home phone, which I just read 2 days ago because I don't check my home phone. And I actually say on my voicemail, I will not be checking these messages. You need to call my cell phone. But she left a message. And then I emailed her boss because when I called her, her voicemail was full and I couldn't leave a message.
Okay, so let's see the email here. And you initially sent her an email 16 hours ago.
Yeah. So an hour ago, she reached back. Let me see the whole thing. So it's a very structured email.
Yeah, it is. It's not an energizing email.
Yeah.
It's also not a networking email.
Yeah.
I think it's too wordy for a learning style, so that basically makes it stabilizing.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't know. As soon as you said, oh, they push it out a week, 2 weeks, and I went, oh, stabilizer. Yeah. Now her boss, energizing networking for sure.
Okay.
The owner, but she doesn't like complete a task. You know, she just has her people do it, which is fine. Which is why I haven't been able to complete the cycle because there hasn't. So I'm hoping once I connect with Roxanne, then we will.
Okay. So just be very formal in your response and, you know, give her, you know, respond and move forward.
I'm going to ask her boss, where is Roxanne located? So I can, or maybe I'll ask Roxanne, can I send you a few samples in the mail?
Perfect. And then you'll have an address.
Exactly. Yeah. All right, good. I think I'm good.
All right.
That was going to be my research project. And then the email came through. I was like, oh, yes, we have more material to work with because I already tried going online. I'm like, So.
All right. So, Jan, do you have anything you want to bring up?
Oh, unmute.
I can unmute you. You're unmuted. No, you're not. Guess you. All right. There you go.
No, not really. I think it's just been a really interesting observation about what I do and don't do, and how I'm similar and how I'm different. And I guess that's what happens when we look at our dominant and our dominant style, and also, you know, again, I'm dealing with Ted very like way more. I mean, you've over the last few days, and it's like, he's driving me cuckoo. And that's because he's more stabilizing than me.
I need to help save this marriage before it goes on the rocks.
Yeah, it won't. But he's like, you know, you talked about just organization. He is a mess. I mean, I can see him. He leaves a trail everywhere he goes, but he likes organization. So when he can't find something, I'm like the person he goes to. Where is this? And it's like, look, it's your thing. I don't know. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of like, he's in a conundrum to me, because he is stabilizing, but he is so, he puts something down and wonders why he can't find it, because he left his whatever kitchen utensil in the garage. So what would that be?
Well, I actually think that he probably is also very high in energizing.
Oh, that's what drives me crazy then. Mm-hmm. Oh, okay, that explains it. Oh, because that drives me crazy. It's like, yeah, because
he has these two competing things going on within him, the stabilizing and the energizing. And the stabilizing wants the order and wants the structure, but the energizing is just do.
Yeah, and he overschedules himself. He's mm-hmm. always late. He doesn't slow down and look. That's why. Okay, because I've been trying to figure out what his second style has been. So that's why, that's the part that just, I hate it.
Right. And for all I know is, from time to time, it is upsetting to him, because, again, he really would like everything in order, but it's not. He can't really keep it in order.
Yeah, I told him one time he was disorganized, and he goes, what? How can I be disorganized and do his job? And I mean, okay, maybe he's organized at work, but he sure as heck isn't organized at home.
Right,
So
right.
anyway, enough about me.
But I know that while stabilizing is my last code, I also know that I get very stabilizing. So for example, and Sharon, you may appreciate this, at BNI, I can be so stabilizing to the point that I have no tolerance for anything other than following the rules and doing the work and task oriented and let's get it done. And and so I have to loosen up. I have to say to myself, you know, it's okay. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, since we're talking about the stabilizer, how much time do you have left? What, is Danielle there? Her thing's on. Okay.
Is she with us? I'm not sure. Oh, there is a fourth participant. I guess she may be by phone.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Oh, she muted both her video and her phone, but obviously she's here, which is great.
Yeah. So I need to talk to my father, who's a total stabilizer. Military Navy guy. It's all about, you know, reaching your goals, having a plan, being conservative, having a budget, don't spend extra money. Okay, so I need to talk to this guy because I'm getting texts from other people about him, and he's never open with me because I'm his daughter, and he needs to keep me safe.
Well, exactly. And the rules are that he's the parent and you're the daughter.
I'm the daughter, but I'm also the one that he knows that he has put aside to, you know, take care of all family affairs when things happen. I'm already in charge of my mother, my brother, and I was notified this week that he stopped driving, not by him, by other people, and of this potential new diagnosis. So I need to go over there and talk to him. I can't call him. He doesn't want to talk on the phone. He'll text, but almost like encryption emojis in like short sentences. He doesn't like drama, does not like drama. He's so stabilizing. So I'm just going to take him for a ride in the car and see what happens and let him talk. And I cannot interrupt him because he doesn't like that.
Yeah, be very much aware you can't interrupt.
And it when I get emotional. Oh my God. So he doesn't want to say anything that's going to make me emotional. But I need to let him know that I'm there for him.
So conversation-wise, you're right about finding time to be with him by yourselves. And the car is a nice confined place where he can't leave. So you've got some undivided time. You're also correct about not interrupting, but then here's the messaging you need to give him. And the messaging is, Dad, let's find a plan. Let's make a plan. Let's have a plan in place. Let's get a plan of action, and let's have a contingency plan, plan A and plan B, and maybe even plan C.
Mm-hmm. Hey, Nancy.
Yes, Danielle.
What happened was my phone started being on the fritz for some reason, unfortunately. So I've been hearing the whole conversation. I couldn't do anything.
Oh, good. Well, we're glad because, you know, I talked about your parents at one point, and I was hoping you would hear that.
Yeah, I heard that. I really appreciate it. And then when I heard, you know, you asking and you were like, oh, I wonder if she's around, then I was like trying frantically to like try to fix this. So I'm like, all right, I finally unmuted. But
Good.
I'll let you finish, but I'll chime in after that, okay?
No, chime in. Do you have something to say?
Well, because I know you were referring to me because of my dad, and what has struck me with him is that he emailed. And I don't know if that would be true with your dad or not, but with my dad, like with something, even when I say, hey, let's talk, he'll just email me a response. It's so impersonal.
Here's what's going on with the person who would rather email than have a conversation on the phone or person to person. What's going on is there's more control in the writing and in the reading. And this is a person who, stabilizing wants lots of control. My dad was also high stabilizing. And
Yeah, so I realized when I came to just accept that recently, because I've been working with, like, kind of dealing with him with some business stuff we had to deal with. And so then I realized, oh, he just wants the information emailed so he can see it in writing. It can be simple, straightforward, and that's what he wants. I'm like, okay,
right.
all right.
And he has more control because remember, these are the readers. They read the fine print. They prefer something in writing than verbally telling them. So that's also what's going on. Again, having it in writing it gives them a lot of control. They can reread it. They can see the fine print. You know, they can take time to process it. All of that is true for the stabilizing person.
Yeah, so I mean, I agree that probably the car situation, may be a very good idea, or you may want to try either before or after. Be like, hey, can we write this out and give you time to think about it and then respond thoughtfully.
No, that's a great message to Sharon, so that at the end of your conversation with your dad, you may want to say, Dad, I'm just going to jot down what I think we talked about. And then, you read it over and let me know if I captured it.
Yeah, good point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I
be
think
not something to respond right then. Be like, let's think about it. Here, let's spell it out so we can all see it in writing.
Right. And what Danielle's also saying, which I totally agree with, is you don't want him to come to a conclusion too quickly. Remember, it takes 5 to 7 contacts for that person. So while you want to discuss the plan of action with your dad and contingencies, you don't want to make him commit immediately. The only thing you want him to commit to is, I'm going to put it in writing, and the next step is for you to respond and tell me, did I get it correct, and what we do from here.
Okay.
Does that help?
Yeah. I think I may just have to send him an email today just to let him know that I am aware of it.
Yeah. That would be a really good thing, because I was even thinking if you came over to his house without prior notice, not good. So you want to give him prior notice to say, Dad, we're going to go for a car ride so we can talk, and again, just, but let him know it's going to be on Saturday or Sunday or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Danielle, you recently said you saw a prospect. Now, I know you turned off your video and everything. Do you want us to help you with any particular?
Yeah. I don't know if I'm ready to address a specific person right now. I think that would be good. I should start getting more organized in that way. That's not my strong point, as you can imagine. So, having everything. So I don't have a specific. I would have to look up, and I don't have a specific name.
Okay.
Ready. So So yeah, but this has definitely been useful for me.
Okay, great. Anyone else want to use the remaining? We have about 15 minutes. Anyone else have anything else?
Dan,
go ahead.
what's your new address?
Oh, we don't have your address, Jan. Do you want to put it in the chat to tell us?
Oh, yeah, I can do that.
So,
you can write it in the, oh, you don't know what it is offhand.
Yeah, no, I do. I can't find my mouse.
The stabilizing person has lost her mouse.
It was really bad.
Well, you can tell us it too. I'll write it down.
Okay, got it. Okay, it's
are we waiting for Jan, or can I?
You can speak, Danielle.
Okay. Well, first of all, one more thing on the father situation. Just again, from my experience, like for example, with maybe you know this or don't know this about your dad, but with my dad, like he does this, in my mind, sometimes the strangest things, that are so impersonal, but again, that's just his way. And like he wrote up, he has all his documents as far as like, in case something happens to, let's say, both my parents, he has all that documented and written out, all their important information. And he just, one time he just handed it to me in the sheet, like, here you go. And that's it. No discussion, no, here we have everything taken care of. There it is, all the information. And I'm like, okay, and is that the end of the story? It's like, so anyway, so if you're planning on talking to that about something, as, deep as that, I wouldn't necessarily expect it to be a personal conversation necessarily.
Well, and again, you're spot on, Danielle, because the stabilizing person, they do tend to be non-emotional. They tend to, again, very task and business oriented. So there sometimes is that disconnect because they're not that warm, fuzzy person that the networking style is. It feels cooler. I like to think of the 4 styles as a thermometer, and the hot style is your energizing, the warm is networking, the cool is stabilizing, and cold is learning.
Yeah, again, I mean, obviously, growing up, it was quite a big disconnect for me, and it felt very cold. Now that I have more perspective on it, I just think, okay, that's him. It's, he cares. It's just his way of doing it. He doesn't have it.
And his way of caring is to be more structured and more systematic. And, my dad was the very same way. And for him, that meant being a good provider. So it was all about giving, providing to the family as his way of showing love, as opposed to saying the words, I love you.
Yeah. Having things in order, taken care of.
Right.
Yeah, it's true. That makes sense. So also I was thinking, it may be, maybe for another call or for my, maybe a personal session with you. But what I was saying at the beginning of the call in terms of looking forward now and considering more of a game plan for myself, can I just address that for a minute?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So, I do have strong energizing side of me, and it gets me in trouble sometimes, and it also helps me out a lot.
It's a double-edged sword for all of us, each of our styles.
Yeah, so, and so now, I have 5, 50 directions I could run in at once, and I'm like, all right, that's ultimately not going to work, and I have at least a little perspective to know if I spend my day on 50 things, it's not going to be as useful as 1 or 2 things, But, so narrowing it to, so right now, if I'm thinking both financially and satisfaction, okay, so I can keep focusing on, or keep, letting the body work business grow just kind of more naturally, and maybe, work on building it up a little bit. Maybe not put like a ton of time on that, but just let it, but sometimes, because I do love that. So that feeds me, kind of more emotionally. And then also turn my attention a little bit more towards the insurance business that I did start. And so I need more kind of training in that, because I did just start it, so I can work with my person on that. And there's different methods to go about working on that. I mean, there's so many different ways I can get and boost with leads. So like one person approached me and said, hey, I have a list of leads. You want to partner with me, and you can make calls and I can go on some appointments. If I have more flexibility, we could work together like that. So I was considering, okay, that sounds like a great plan, except I'm definitely not the kind of person who just wants to sit and make calls all the time. Like I've done it before for business, for when I've worked at companies, I was doing that for different times, but I'm not going to have the discipline to just do that all the time. And, I just kind of like, I could force myself to, but, but it's not going to be my first choice. And then, and it's also not always productive, like cold calling. Sometimes it is and sometimes it's not. I don't. So anyway, so that's one question I have. Then I do have actually a huge contact list of people that I've met over time that some that I actually know and some that I just have their contact information for. And through different, networking that I've done. And so I'm like, okay, I can more actively, go down that list and organize that list first of all, then use it. And then I have some fear there, because then it's like, oh, I actually might know the person, then I feel like a little bit hesitation. I don't know, does that make so then my I don't know, like some of my just personal hesitation comes up.
So, Jen, I think that on some level that by focusing on one thing and beginning to get some traction in one activity will help you then build the confidence you need to do other things.
Right.
When you spread yourself over multiple things, you're not going to gain the traction in any of them.
Okay.
And it's the traction that eventually can propel you to the success that you desire.
Okay.
And it's not that you have to be limited to one thing forever, but you really do need to put your energies into one dimension for about a 3-month, maybe 6-month period to get that traction. Is this making sense? I mean, can you get excited about the fact that, wow, I'm finally going to get traction and here's how to do it?
Yeah, but how focused do I need to be?
I'm smiling because the answer is, yeah, you got to be focused. But it can be so exciting to be focused on the activity that is going to help propel you towards the success that you desire.
Okay, so then knowing some of the spectrum of things that I kind of have on my table right now, what would you suggest I start with then?
Well, let me ask you, what is the most compelling or exciting of the options that are on the table? Because you need to start with the one that excites you the most.
Well, part of what my mentality is that each one can kind of flow into another more or less, in its own time. Because like as I build relationships and connection with people or clients from one way or another, then I can introduce, do you know someone or yourself, interested in, some of these other services or things that I provide.
You're right that there can be a connection, but that's down the road. And the challenge for your personality style is to be at this point in the road and not down the road. You're at that, entrance to the highway. You're not on the highway.
Mm-hmm.
And when you try to have 3 entrances to the highway, you don't get on the highway.
Yeah.
So you're on the on-ramp of 3 different businesses. And you're jumping from on-ramp to on-ramp to on-ramp. And as a result, you're not making progress on the on-ramp.
Right.
Can you visualize that?
Well, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I know, Jen, you probably have something because I saw you smiling. Do you want to share a few comments?
Yeah. I'm just going to go back to, and I'm sorry, Polly, for barking. Anyway, I'm going to go back to when I was selling jackets, and you and I've talked about this. And what led to my success in everything that I do is doing one thing every day. Now, it seems really simple, but the one thing was 3 sales talks a day. So what that means is I talk to 3 prospects a day. And from that conversation, then I was able to decide where they were going to, you know, that was my on-ramp. And then once I got that conversation under my belt, then I knew where to direct them to go. But until I had those 3 conversations a day, I was nowhere. But by doing that, then it's kind of like, all right, so this one's doing this, and because they've made this decision, I know what I have to do. And it sounds really boring to you, I think, Danielle, because you're thinking, oh, how focused do I have to be? But if you could just think of, maybe with Nancy's help, what is the one thing you can do every day that's going to move you, and then fill the rest of the time with all the things necessary to get that done. So, for example, I'd have these 3 conversations a day. That means I had 15 a week. Okay, so imagine if you had 15 conversations with prospects a week. Do you think that that might move something? Yes, no?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, okay. And then, you know, so what that means is my goal was to get an assembly at a school. You know, that was what I was trying to get them to do for me. So based on that, I was able to get, essentially, I had a 30% closing ratio. So I got 3 assemblies a week. And from that, then I knew I had to put up posters. I had to get this letter out to people. I had to order brochures. But from that, everything else kind of filled in just by doing those 3 a week. And that's hard. I had to do, and this is before cell phones or anything else, to be able to get those 3 a week, I probably had to make, I probably had to make 50 phone calls to get those 3, the 3 conversations a day. I probably had to make 10 or 15 phone calls to be able to get those appointments, to be able to do those talks. So the sales presentation or the sales conversation. So if you can boil it down to, okay, if I just do this one thing every day, what is it that I have to do to get that done? That should move you to, I can tell you're moving around and tuning out, so I will shut up.
No, sorry. I just had to get something. But yeah, it's true. I mean, that doesn't necessarily tell me what to focus on. I mean, I think I guess that's still up to me, but it's true, just by consistency. I mean, that's certainly what I've heard over and over again.
Okay, so let's look at that then. So, I mean, you're not going to move anything forward until you have sales conversations with people. So how many prospects do you have to talk to in a day to secure, you know, a one-on-one, a one-to-one coffee conversation? How many people do you have to talk to get 3 per day, 15 a week?
Well, I don't know personally yet, because I don't have the personal experience. I mean, I can go by other people's numbers, but
okay. But you said you had a contact list. Okay, you've got a huge list of people that you've collected cards from, that you know personally. So the first thing, it starts with your list. Okay, or yeah. So if you have a contact list of 300 people, what I always recommend to my clients is that we take that list and segment it into A's, B's, and C's. A's being where you think you might be able to secure that sales conversation. The B's, you're maybe 50% sure, and the C's, you really don't know. And then you start doing whatever you need to do to secure that appointment, whether it's on the phone, whether it's on Zoom, whether it's, you know, in person. But unless you start talking to people about what you do, you're not going to go anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
So that should be, in my opinion, that should be your task. That's it. I mean, that's the thing that we all struggle with every single day as an entrepreneur.
Yeah. So Jan is right, and I know Sharon, when Jordan was here, I mean, he gave very similar messaging that there has to be a system, and there has to be a consistency in doing that. And for the energizing style, to have a system and to follow it is very difficult, which is the reason why, Danielle, I know that it's not something you want to embrace right away. But I can tell you that in the long run, every energizing person who's been successful has had to come to terms with following the system. And the more exciting we can make the system, the more fun it will be, the more likely it is that you'll follow it and get results. And that's the key.
Can I tell you something? What was really interesting hearing from Jordan, I wish you could have been in that room, Danielle, for breakfast, was he's not as systematic as you think he is. Because I perceive somebody with like an Excel spreadsheet tracking, like I talked to this person on this day. No, I swear to God, you guys phone, bling, bling, touch, bling, touch. So you can have that list of that you just spoke about, not have the A, B, and C. Make it a fun game for yourself. Make it fun and exciting. And just go like this. Maybe that's what you need, and just say, Nancy has a great program where it's like 15 minutes a day. If you could just start conditioning the muscle, maybe what you need. Like, just pick a task and do it. But consistently, day after day to day. Because I think, Jan, I love what you're saying, but I think it's too far from where she is. Do you know what I mean?
I would agree. I was trying to simplify it. And one of the things that she could do, or you could do, Danielle, is whatever that one task is, once you accomplish it, could you reward yourself for doing it? Maybe, you know, whatever that might be. It could be going for a walk. It could be, you know, window shopping. It could be whatever it is, spending time with, you know, having coffee with a friend or something, but just reward yourself for getting it done. So that might be part of the game. I'm trying to think of a game that would, you know, that you win at. So when you accomplish this, you've won and you get a prize.
Right.
So if you could figure out what that prize would be, or there could be a handful of prizes that you give yourself. Now, because I'm a stabilizer, what happens is I do this, and then there's always more to do, so I never reward myself. But because you are an energizer, I mean, that to me would be something that would be, okay, cool. I get to, you know, whatever it is that gets you excited.
Yeah. Well, our time is up, and so I am going to end our conversation here, but I'm happy to chat with each of you individually more about it, or Danielle, we can make a time to talk as well. So I will look forward to seeing you and talking with you in 2 weeks. Here's to your sales success. Have a great day.
Happy times in Maryland, Jan.
Thank you much. Come on down if you want to see DC.
All right.
We have an extra bedroom.
We'll keep that in mind. My husband's been traveling there a lot.
Oh, come on. Yeah, it is a basement, but oh yeah, you wouldn't need a hotel room, but yeah, I'd love to
do lunch
in person. Lunch, yay. Yeah.
Bye for now.
Bye.